When it comes to planning a retreat, there's ways to get it to go from average to incredibly transformative. Welcome to Retreat Boss, where we speak about inspired travel for fun, transformation, and profit. Guest experts will give you their tips and tricks on creating the most impactful retreats, both for you and your clients. Whether you want a meditative getaway, a wellness trip, or a business escapade, we provide you with the best advice in organizing and hosting a tremendous event. Join Catherine Kontos as she talks with fellow experts about creating exclusive and successful retreats. Dive deep into the most unique activities, the best destinations to visit, and the most uplifting trips out there that you can discover. Here is your host, Catherine Kontos. Today on Retreat Boss, we have Daniela Caputo, who is a meeting and event planner based in Montreal, Canada. She is experienced in everything from client services and project management to marketing, event execution, negotiations, and sourcing. Her expertise is regularly recognized by her peers with nominations including Planner of the Year, Industry Builder, and Mentor. Her insight on best practices and upcoming trends has been featured in numerous magazine articles, and hopefully we'll get all that insight here today. Welcome, Daniela, to the Retreat Boss podcast.
Thank you, Catherine. Thanks for having me. Really an honor. Thank you.
Daniela, because we live locally together in this area, I know how well recognized you are here. You teach many others. You have students on event planning and everything that you do. So I thought, when we've spoken before, I thought when I met you and we spoke even more, I said, you know what, she would be a great expert to bring onto the podcast to tell us a little bit about your strategies and techniques on how to create a space where people will feel even more enhanced into the event and have much greater experiences and memories because of it. Mm-hmm. So tell me a bit about your story, how you got started in the industry, and what you've done up until now, like a little brief recap of your career.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to make it as short as possible. It was a total accident that I became a planner, an event planner or a meeting planner. Before that, for 25 years, I was in the corporate world. And I basically worked in customer relations, frontline, sales service or sales coordinator, marketing, PR, and all that. So I was always in the service industry or service area of the corporate world. The recession happened about 15, 16 years ago, lost my job. I was working in marketing at the time, and I started looking for a job. Fell into a program from Emploi Québec to encourage women to open up their own business. And even though I didn't want to really open it up, but I figured I have nothing to do, let me just learn something because I'm a learner. I love to learn. I hate exams, but I love to learn. So I did that while I was looking for a job and ended up opening up my own event planning company. Didn't really have experience as an event planner, but in my 25 years of servicing and working in the service, I was the one that organized the sales meeting, the Christmas party, the business meetings, the workshops and all that, wherever I worked in the company. That wasn't my title as an event planner, but I was like a coordinator, but she organizes this, or marketing, but she organizes that, and stuff like that. So I'm a very organized person, even personally. I love hosting people, and I am a people pleaser. So that's the first thing for me as a planner. You have to really be a people pleaser. Besides all the other stuff, creativity and everything else, but right. You got to be that. So, and then about 5 years into my business, when I started, I got an offer to teach at La Salle College and to teach event management courses. So I figured, yeah, no problem. I thought it was going to be a 1 semester gig, and 11 years later, I'm still teaching. And I found another passion, which I love. I love paying it forward. I love, my motto is I aspire to inspire, and that goes across for clients, students, whoever I meet, And really, it's that. It's one thing led to another. And here I am today. I got nominated a few times, which is kind of like, wow, people actually remember me, because I'm not a huge company. I am a one-person operation, although I do hire people when I do need the staff, on call. But I am a networker. I am a hustler. I am in every which way to get a contract or get a work or what have you. I learned it from my 25 years experience in the corporate world.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Amazing. So what do you do? What do you think is the key factor in making an event a wow factor?
A wow factor, yes. Clients want wow factors all the time. But the thing is, Catherine, what's wow for you or a client may not be the same wow for me. So the key to my trick or my secret recipe or whatever is I listen to the client. I don't only hear them, but I listen. I also listen what I call between the lines.
Yes.
Meaning that, okay, they're telling me this, but what do they really want? They're saying this, but what do they really like? And I try to dig in very subtly, very discreetly. I try to understand what they really want. It wasn't easy at first because, at first you're eager and stuff, but with time you start seeing a pattern, because sometimes clients or people think they told you everything, but half of it is still in there and they haven't really verbalized it. So you have to figure out a way to pull it out, without them knowing that, because there's a lot of information that you need, right?
Right.
And I base it on the experience, their past events, because I always ask about their past events. I ask what they like and what they don't like, what are deal breakers, what are good, all of those questions. And I tell the clients, I go, I know you think I'm probably like a junior by asking you these questions, but it's important to me because then I get the whole picture. I don't get part of it, and then the other part, I fill it in. Because, a lot of times they ask, I'm asked by the clients, and they said, oh, but you're the expert, you tell me. But I can never tell, in my opinion, my way of working. Other planners are different, but in my way of working is I do not tell the client what I think. Because it's not important what I think. What's important is what do they want, and I'll make it happen. I call it like the dream weaver. I'll make your dream come true, whatever it is, of course, reasonably, of course, because sometimes the dreams are wild, but yeah.
So the key element, like in a retreat as well, is assess your client properly. Yeah. And with expertise, you're correct. You start learning to read between the lines as well as to what they want, because there's a certain pattern of behavior or ideas that come up with it. And also clients don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. They think they know, or they don't know, or they think they told you everything, but not really. But there's a lot has to do with body language. A lot has to do with even the surrounding. Sometimes I like to meet them at their office and look around, and I get the vibe of the place too is important. I spend time with them, sit down, have a coffee. We chit chat a lot about personal things, but I get in the meantime, it's a way of me getting all the entire picture.
That's a great idea for people that can, right? Because sometimes with retreats, you can't really necessarily be in the same room with the person.
Yeah.
But if you do have the opportunity to be able to go into their space and get a feel of their character, that's
it's hard though, because nowadays people don't bring you to their office anymore. They bring you to the boardroom.
Especially now.
Well, especially now too. Yes.
Right? Because of
the pandemic.
Yeah. So how do you find, look, the event industry was hit hard, just like the retreat industry, the travel industry, anything that has to do with group of people. How have you dealt with all that this past year? Did you do something differently, or are you just waiting it out and going with the flow?
I did start trying to do something differently. But I decided to wait it out. I have done some online events, which we hated because it's so impersonal. I mean, people are people. We like the face-to-face. We like to hug each other. Hello, how are you, etc. Or shake the hand and everything. I know it can be done now, obviously. But yes, I did try to pivot. I didn't find it sat well with me as a planner, The reason for it is I felt like I was becoming a TV producer. I felt like I was becoming, like an executive producer, like it was a TV show I was putting. It wasn't an event, like in the traditional sense of an event planner, or of a meeting planner, nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to do that. That's not what I signed up for. That's not what my company is all about. Right.
Yeah. And I find it makes no matter what, online is online, you cannot, when you create an event, there's something about transforming the room that makes a huge difference, right? You could be in a factory with 4 walls, right? And it looks like nothing special.
Yeah, it looks spectacular. You could transform it into something super spectacular.
So what do you think of, like, what I'd like to get your ideas on how, when people go away in a group retreat where, they're trying to create transformation, obviously, depending on what transformation they want to create, makes a huge difference. Do you feel that there is something that they could do in their location, wherever they are, that can enhance that experience? Like, is there any tricks or anything that they could tweak without, having them cost them a lot of money? Like, what could they do?
Well, it's tricky because it's up to the individual. And let me explain what I mean. You have to be open to that, the idea of a retreat. Sometimes you'll go to a retreat and expect it to come to you. But if you're not open-minded, open-spirited, open-hearted, whatever, open arms, whatever, it's hard to get to your goal for the retreat. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
I'll give you a simple example. I go to a lot of different places. Okay, I travel. And this one place was in Mexico. And I'm a beach person. But this place was not a beach place. It was in the center of Mexico. And it was considered a very high-end retreat for people that want spirituality. Okay. Now, when I'm on a trip for business, my mind is business oriented, right? Okay, so does my client like it? I walk in, I really don't look from the Daniela Caputo's point of view. I look from the point of view of my client. Okay, do they like this? Do they like this? I'm very mechanical, okay? So I went to this place and it was a retreat place. Okay, it was very retreat. Now when I arrived, the street was super busy because Mexico is very congested and everything. The gates were opened. We drove in. The gates closed. Believe it or not, no more noise. I don't even know how that's possible because we were outside, but no more noise. You get further in, and they gave me my room, and it was a hacienda. You know what a hacienda is? Like it's the old. I walk into that hacienda. It was beautiful. It was authentic, very Mexican style, like with the stucco walls, everything you could think of. But all of a sudden, I felt realigned. All of a sudden, I felt straightened out, like realigned, like spiritually. And I couldn't understand because I'm thinking, I don't need realignment. I'm not here for the retreat. I'm here to see, and if it's a good fit for my client, but I'm not here for me, And yet that place grabbed me, my spiritually I'm speaking, and it realigned me, and I didn't know I needed it. But I went in there with an open mind for my client, not even for myself. Right. So being open-spirited, open-minded, it helps so much because what they say, you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You can take the head and put it in the water. It doesn't mean it's going to actually drink, right?
Right.
So it's really with the individual in mind too. That's the hardest part, but the easiest part, depending on how it goes,
Right. So when you're scouting for venues, I know that you do, it's very important to understand that the environment that they're in will make a huge difference. And again, if there's something that they could do to tweak it, I always advise people, speak to the venue owners. If there's something that they could do that'll make it even more aligned to what you want as a goal, then go for it, and if there's, you just have to ask. All they could say is no, right? And if not, if you can figure out a way to tweak it to make it more environmentally enhancing for the client, because you're not the first one that says that to me, right? It's happened to me too, where you just get this feeling. It's an energy where when you walk in somewhere, it's an energy that will either turn you off or
Yeah.
will turn you on in a good way, where you feel completely aligned and centered and just at home and peaceful. And other places you could go and you could feel like agitated and stressed. And maybe it has nothing to do with the house or the venue. Maybe it has to do with the energy of the people that have gone in there, or the
Yeah.
homeowners, the venue owners. So it's a great point to bring out. When
Yeah.
you scout venues, which you just came back recently from what you told me
Yes.
pre-interview, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Um,
Costa Rica. Mhm.
yeah. So you were in Costa Rica, and what is it? Tell me what you do when you're scouting venues. What is it that what do you look at? Activities? Do you look at the destination, what they could do as an excursion? What does your day look like? Give me the day
So
of Daniela in Costa Rica. Give me one day.
so the idea is this. I don't come up with the destinations myself. I mean, I could, but I'm in a meeting with my clients, and when it comes to the incentive part, where, okay, this year or next year or in 2 years, where are we going to go? We've been to Europe, we've been here, we've been there. Where does and everybody talks about the destinations, okay? So I have a list of a lot, because even though I have 3 or 4 clients, but within that clientele, I have 17 groups. So I have to bring them to different places, not 17 different places. I do a rotation, but but I do know the profile of my group. So the group where the IT software people, they're all between 35 and 60 years old, mostly men, most of them. There are women, very competitive people. So now, what do they want to do? Do they want to go? Do they want to go to Costa Rica because they want to explore the jungles? Because Costa Rica is known for the eco awareness of the country, right? It's very lush. It's very rainforest. It's not known for its beaches. Okay.
Right.
So I brought the group already for the jungle and the city, because they wanted to see it. They wanted to see the different animals in the rainforest and all that stuff. And they did that. They loved it. But now there's a side of Costa Rica that's very ocean or very beach. It's not the beaches of Mexico or the beaches of Jamaica or the Dominican Republic, but it does have a beach side, just that it's wilder. Meaning, not that it's dangerous wild, it's just not developed like me and you and most of us know what the Caribbean is developed like,
Yes.
So where I went was a hotel of villas. So they're little houses with a room or two, and it's a little house. It's not even a 3 or 4 or 7-story high building with hotel rooms. No, It's not even. It's really villas. So you open the doors, the beach is right there, the ocean is right there. You sleep and it's a villa, so it's very to the ground and very, very authentic to Costa Rica. Okay, so I knew that some of my clientele wanted to experience that. It's not for everybody, because there are bugs, there are lizards, there are iguanas, we're basically in their turf, right? Every day I would see an iguana or a lizard or something, or some kind of bird or something there. You know what I mean? They don't disturb you if you don't disturb them, but it's not for everyone. So when I go there, I look at that. I look at the room. Do they like it? Is the bed okay? Is it clean? Is it modern? Is there air conditioning because it's hot there? What is it looking out to? Does it look out to the gardens or does it look out to the ocean? The food, how is it? Is it good? Is it to my client standard? Not my standard, but my client standard, because I know them very well by now, Is the service good? Are they, especially now with COVID, are they conscious of COVID? Are they aware? Are they careful? What kind of activities do they have? They have snorkeling, they have hiking, they have zip lining, they have all kinds of activities. Right. So that's what I look for, and I gather all this information. But when I do go to these destinations, the people are aware that I'm coming, meaning the sales managers or the marketing directors of the hotel know that I'm coming. So they'll make information available to me too. Or they'll ask me, would you like to try this? Would you like to try that? Because I'm testing it out for my clients, and their potential clients.
So is it a venue? Is it a venue that they chose? Like, do your clients tell you, I want you to go scout these three venues or check them out? Or is it something that you suggest and then you reach out to the venue? Both? Okay.
Yeah.
And because pricing is something that is a
Yes.
huge pain point for planners.
Yes.
What is it that, do you get this sponsored? Do you get the client to pay for it? Both?
It depends, because a lot of times what happens is when I'm invited to these, first of all, I'm not the only one, by the way. It's always in groups of 20 or maybe sometimes bigger. But with COVID, we were 10, okay? Because of the group size. But the group size, it's called the FAM tour or familiarization tour, okay?
Yes.
And that's usually organized by the tourism office, by Costa Rica Tourism Office, or what they're called DMCs, which is destination management companies. So they're basically planners that are from the destination and they're experts of the destination. And they will pick you up at the airport. They will organize stuff. They will, they're my best friends. That's what I'm trying to say. Yep. Because I reach out to the tourism office. The tourism office has a membership, right? They have members in their, and they could tell you, okay, Daniela, if you want to do this, this, and this, I suggest these guys. If you want to do this, this, and this, or if you have 4 or 5 star hotels that your clients want, well, this is the group of hotels you should look at. And we'll help you reach out to the organizers there and marketing people or the sales managers or directors and stuff. And it gets all coordinated. So when I reach out to the tourism office and I have conversation. This doesn't happen within a week. Sometimes it's a year ahead, 2 years ahead. Right. It takes time and a lot of times, sometimes the trip is paid for, sometimes it's not. Sometimes the hotels are paid for. Most of the time, the hotels are paid for, okay? Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes certain food, like meals, are paid for, and sometimes not. Activities, it depends. It depends. Like if you go to certain hotels, for instance, I went to New Zealand, example, okay? Quite a few years ago, I went to New Zealand. I got the trip, the flight, the hotels, the meals, everything was included. I did not spend 1 penny. And we were about 30 people. Sorry.
And who pays for this? Is it
the
fam?
The flight was New Zealand Air. Okay. The hotels was where we stayed at. We stayed at several of them because it's not something that I'm there for a week and I'm at my leisure. No, that's the other thing, is that I go to these places, but it's not at my schedule. Because I'm being hosted or a guest of theirs, they're going to show me around. So my schedule is full, like full. I have practically sometimes no time for myself. So at 7:00 it starts. There's a presentation of the destination. There's a visit of the hotel. Then there's breakfast. Then there's we could go into the car or the minibus and they bring us to another destination, another visit of the hotel. We have lunch at the hotel. We come back, we change, take a quick shower, change, go to a cocktail at another hotel or another special events venue, and then the day after we may be doing zip lining or we may be hiking, but it's constant. We're always busy. And the trips are about 4 nights, average, and if you want to add an extra night, then it's at your cost. And if it's an all-inclusive, then you don't pay, but if it's not, you pay your own, Sometimes the flights are not included, but the rest is, it depends. It depends on the budgets of the suppliers, because they're called suppliers for us. I'm considered a buyer. So because I'm a buyer and I have buying power, I get invited to these destinations. But I don't get invited because I'm Daniela Caputo, by the way. I get invited because I have a reputation. I have done a lot of business with other people or related hotels. Like, for instance, the Ritz-Carlton Montreal, there's other Ritz-Carltons all over the world. So my name is in the database of Ritz-Carlton worldwide. So when they see my name, who is this? They're going to go look me up and there's notes on my name and stuff. You understand? So it's something that's built with time, with age, with experience and everything else. You know what I mean? So it's not something that's very easily done. You have to do business also. You have to prove to them that you are really worth the trip, because they're paying a lot of money for you, technically.
Right.
For you to be there.
So someone who's starting off, what steps would they take to do what you're doing, what you do as far as getting your trip sponsored? Do they first call the tourist board? Does then the tourist board hook them up with like, what are the steps you take to get this done?
Well, okay, no, it's not like that.
Okay.
Unless you already have great clients, big clients, then yes, then they'll look at you and they'll come after you because you have big clients. Okay. What it is basically we have in our industry, we have an association and they have chapters in each part of all over the world, they have chapters. So you have to be a member of that association. Okay. It's for meeting professionals. Okay. Once that, you should mingle and network a lot. Okay. Once you get there, there's conferences that are held every year, like there's the World Education Conference that happens every year, but it happens in the US and it moves around. It goes everywhere, like everywhere in the US. Every year it's a different destination. So you have to pay for the trip, the conference, the food, the beverage. There's an expense to it, and then once you get there, then it's like a trade show. So you have all kinds of destinations, all kinds of kiosks, like when you go to a car show or you go to a home show, you have all kinds of displays of homes, right, and contracting companies and stuff. Well, in our industry, it's destinations, suppliers of all kinds, audiovisual, tourism offices and stuff. So you have to take the time to go there, introduce yourself, exchange business cards, have conversations like we're having now, talk, but they're going to ask you, so what kind of events do you do? How many events do you do a year? Who are your clients? They ask you questions because they don't just decide on anybody,
Yes.
You understand, you got to have a buying power and you got to prove it to them somehow, and by proving it to them, it's not by saying, hey, this is what I do. No, they'll see it because people talk to each other in the industry. So if you go to a Fairmount, let's say, and you meet Fairmount, I don't know, in Maldives, let's say, okay? Well, those people talk to the Fairmount Montreal or talk to the Fairmount in Quebec City. Like they're connected and they have their meetings and they talk and maybe they go through names of people or planners and stuff, maybe they exchange. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not on that side. But from what I gather is that your name gets shared, your reputation is shared, and so that helps, but that takes time and it takes a lot of dedication. And that's what I meant before when I said I'm a hustler. You have to hustle. You have to go. And like, I know if a client wants to, I know one of my clients want to go to Australia. I've been after Australia tourism for 5 years now. I haven't been successful. You know what I mean? And reaching out. I mean, they know who I am. They've heard my story. I've met them in person, but it's like they're still not convinced. Maybe because they see me, I'm a little company from Canada, from Montreal. I'm small, but they don't realize that I actually have big budgets that I manage.
Right.
My clients go in the $1 million budgets, when they do these things. It's not Mickey Mouse stuff,
Right.
But they're not too convinced, or I don't know what the holdup is. Could be many other things. It could be just because there's a lot more planners ahead of me that are much more powerful for buying. They're much more higher ranked, than I am. That's all. It could be as simple as that.
Well, you're giving so much value to my listeners. This is incredible information. This is gold.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry if I'm talking too much, but it really is. It's that way. It's not that. I know it looks glamorous on the surface. If you follow me, you see all my adventures and stuff. Wow, it's fun. It is fun. But it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work.
So someone who's planning an event, just like planning a retreat, it takes time, right?
Oh,
you're looking at a year in advance, at least, right?
At least. Yeah.
So this is what I always say to people who are looking into retreat planning. They're thinking now. Don't think of now. The World Wellness Institute predicts next year at this time, the wellness industry in travel, in retreats and all of that is going to skyrocket to, multiple figures, numbers that we've never seen before. So for whoever's in the event industry, whoever's in the retreat industry, whoever's in the wellness industry and wants to do something at a destination, they need to train themselves now. They need to prepare now for next year, for the year after. It's not happening.
You know why it's going to be skyrocketing? You know why?
Go ahead, tell me. I do. I want to hear what you have to say.
It has to do with mental health.
That's right.
People have suffered, like in this pandemic. They've suffered quietly, loudly, whatever. They've suffered. So it's important. And now people are going to say, I don't care. I'm going. I don't care. I'm doing something. I don't care. I'm taking care of me.
Well, Yeah. And people are doing that right now. People don't
Yes.
realize that the people who are actually leading retreats right now are making so much money, are
Yes.
so busy because a lot of retreat planners just said, I'm not doing it right now. It's not the time. And the ones that are taking advantage of the opportunity, because there is people that are saying, I don't care. I need to connect with others. I need to take care of what's going on with me and here in my soul and my spirit. I need to go now. You know, as long as the retreat leader make sure that they make the client feel secure about everything and the protocols and how the cancellations and all that. People are like going like this. They're booking their retreats and like within a couple of weeks, all I see is booked, sold out. And it's really because nobody else is doing it. And the ones that are doing it, everybody's flocking to them.
Because they're also afraid, right? They're afraid because
they're afraid.
The pandemic is still happening. Like a lot of times, like, you know, for me to do an event here locally or even anywhere else, I won't do it if it's 200 people.
Right.
Like I'm talking about just a regular event.
Regular event.
I won't do it because it's too risky.
Yeah.
First of all. Secondly, the venue should not allow that. And I'm saying it like this because I'll get in trouble from my colleagues, because there are venues that are allowing it. They're putting the onus on the client, and it shouldn't be on the client. You know, they're saying, yeah, we could do it, but you take care of the passport. That's not right.
Well,
because
you have to be
the client's place, it's the supplier's place, you know?
You have to be responsible too for your planning, because in the end, it is your event, right? It's your name, it's your reputation. You don't want anything happening. And if you do it in a secure, safe way, which is whatever you're comfortable with too, it's okay if people aren't doing retreats or events. If they're not feeling comfortable doing it, then don't. But I'm just saying the ones that are really, really profiting from it right now.
Yeah, I know. But you know, yes, they are, and good for them. Good for them, and God forbid something happens, you know what I mean? But you have to understand there are rules and regulations that the government put in,
and you have to follow them.
As long as they don't get caught, they're going to be making their money,
right?
For sure. But when they get caught, it gets expensive. And I know of quite a few restaurants that have the license, but they got caught. Why? Because first of all, they were overcapacitated. Secondly, the guests were not wearing their masks, you know. And thirdly, the guests were dancing.
Yeah. So you're speaking more locally what's happening here in Montreal, right? You're speaking about more locally here in Montreal.
Yes. And I'm not going to name names, but yes. Yeah. And what happened is somebody outside hears the music, pops the head in, sees dancing, and all they have to do is call the cops.
Yeah.
They come and everybody gets fined after. Everybody, guests, owners, suppliers, everybody.
So the important message here that, you know, you're trying to convey is, you know what, it's not worth it. Follow the rules, you know, whatever you're doing, just follow the rules, because in the end, it's really not worth it. It's about safety. And that's what you need to do when you're planning during a time like this, whether it's local events or destination events. You got to go with the groove, and you got to be ready when it's open, right? So when it's closed, fine. Take the time to recover, to, you know, reassess and whatever. Because as you've seen the past 2 years, it's open, it's closed, it's open, it's closed, it's semi-closed. It's predictable. Like it's predictable what's going to happen in the next month or two, because it's happened.
And the government is trying to make everybody happy too, right?
Right.
They're trying to balance it all out. Everybody gets mad, but the government is trying to make everybody happy, which in the end gets other people upset. you know. I mean, I don't blame anybody. I totally can relate, because people need to survive, need money, need to work, need to keep their business going, you know?
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
So let's get back to event planning as a last like final thing. Tell me, when it comes to when a company hires you to go a scout, they have to, well, how do you price them? How do you price that? How do you price your events? What is the breakdown of how you do it? Like, is it an expense and then you mark up after the expense with profit, or do you do it differently?
Well, the way I do it is I have my fee, my flat fee. Okay. I know there's other planners, they go by percentage. I don't believe in that. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying I don't believe in that, because in the end, 90% of the time, we're the ones who lose money when it's percentage. Okay. Like, in other words, if they give you a budget, and I'm just giving you any number, a budget of, let's say, $30,000, okay, and you're working with that, but then when you reconcile the budget, it's a $50,000 budget. Well, that $20,000 that you didn't get the percentage of, because you quoted the price on, let's say, 10% or 5% of 30,000.
Right.
But now there's $20,000 more to this budget. How are you going to get the percentage from the 20,000? The client will tell you, oh, well, that's not my problem. You didn't calculate right. You understand?
Right.
So you worked for 30,000, the percentage. I mean, you started off with 30,000, but when you reconcile everything, it's 50. So you lost money, technically, because you worked for $20,000 extra that you're not getting paid for.
But
so
what if
to make it simple, for me, it's a flat fee. They tell me it's a 3-day, 4-day, whatever, and I calculate my time. I know now, I have a system, I know now. And also, because I'm not at every single destination, I don't go with the group. I used to go, but not anymore. So I hire people at the destination, which is the DMCs, which is the destination management companies. And they give me a percentage because I gave them clients, right? And they gave me a percentage, right? It's not, it's a commission, I guess, but it's just it's the way they pay me. It's the way it works in the other places in the world. Because I know that commissions or kickbacks are really not looked very nicely here in Canada or in Quebec, I should say. But it's a very normal thing everywhere in the industry, not just our industry. But they call it a commission. Like, I send them a bill and they pay me what we agreed on for me giving them the business, for me choosing them as my supplier, Right. They get paid their stuff, but then they give me, because they know we already negotiated and we already worked out the details. And, and I get paid. So I get paid for my clients because I go and source and do, and I get also an amount from the destination management company.
Amazing. So that's a good way, I guess with a percentage, I guess they would have to write it on contract. If it goes over budget, then the percentage goes with the budget,
but good luck with that, especially in Montreal. They don't fly. It doesn't fly.
No. Like, that's not happening.
And then the thing is too, what you have to understand, if you're doing 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 events at a time, you have to remember all that. You have to remember, you have to have a system, obviously, but you gotta, where am I at? How much is they, it's just, for me, the way I work, I don't like it. I don't do it. But other people do it, they swear by it. And, that's their thing. Good for them if they swear by it,
Yeah. Daniela, you have given us so much information. My planners and whoever's listening to this is going to just eat away at it and probably listen to it a few times. So I really thank you for that.
Well, thank you for having me. My pleasure, really. Anytime,
Yeah, great. I'm looking forward to talking to you again and again and again.
Because
we have the same, we have a lot of similar people in our circles. So
yes, we do.
But you know what? We'll connect directly. We don't need the circle.
No, that's right. Hey,
yeah,
we do have a lot of common people for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much, Daniela. Have yourself a wonderful day, and good luck with everything and all your projects that you're doing.
And happy holidays and all the best. Health first. To you too. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Retreat Boss podcast. When it comes to achieving wellness and transformation, nothing is more effective and profound than a well-orchestrated retreat. Achieve huge revenue growth, one trip at a time. Want to learn more on expanding your business with retreats? Visit retreatboss.com, when profitable retreats are made easy. Be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show at retreatboss.com/podcast. Until next time, take care.